Hey y'all, this is the Fishing Business Podcast. I'm glad you came back for episode 2. If you haven't watched episode 1, you might want to go back and watch that. That's with Keith Daffrin, who is the president of Vexus Boats. Great guy and really great information. And we've got another really good show lined up for you today with Dave Ittner from Yamaha Marine. Dave has been around the fishing business forever. He knows everybody, and I think he knows everything. So you're going to want to hear what he has to say. But before I got started, I wanted to sort of explain that while this is being recorded, we're in the middle of the COVID-19 coronavirus work from home, shelter in place, self-distancing time period. So a lot of people are working from home and being at home, and a lot of things have been canceled. So a lot of tournaments have been canceled, a lot of big events have been canceled, and I thought it would be interesting to take a look at how some of the top pro anglers are using this time to get closer to their fans. So because they're not out fishing, they don't have things to post in their Facebook or Instagram feed about their tournaments, which would normally be going on right now. So let's see what they are doing. I looked at Gerald Swindle. Of course, you'd know he'd be the first one because he's always got great content. But he did a turkey hunting video, which is always entertaining. And I love the way he's showing a different part of his life and a different passion that he has to let his fans get to know him better and get to know more about him. And he also did a boat tour, which is or he shared a boat tour, which was I think really really good. Brandon Polinick was shared a video in El Salto, Mexico. Don't we all wish we were there? And because that's very, very remote. I doubt there's any coronavirus down there. But anyway, he showed a behind the scenes video of his trip bass fishing down there. He also shared a GoPro video, which is with a chesty, the chest mount of him trying out a new bait, which is probably a little bit more traditional of what you see a lot of in Facebook and in your social media streams, but Brandon always does a great job with that. So again, I'm just encouraging you to think outside the box and get creative about what you post in your social media. Hunter Shyrock, I thought he did a great job. He actually posted a video clip of him on the Bassmaster Classic stage telling a funny story, which was different from everything else we're seeing right now. And it was a really funny story about him forgetting to wear his pants on the last day of the Bassmaster Classic. If you watched that coverage, you might remember that story, but that was really funny. I loved that. And then also Bill Lowen did a live video where he took questions from fans about how he organizes his boat, which was really interesting because that's an important thing. And the pros, a top pro like Bill, he's got some things to share there. Harvey Horn did a Facebook Live with questions from the audience with his wife too, and I loved it. It was just it seemed like they were sitting at their kitchen table and they were just answering questions and being themselves, and again letting us get to know them better. And then I love this. Dale Hightower was sharing a lot of food pictures, y'all, things that he was cooking, recipes he liked, and I loved that. I think that really does satisfy that need we all have to want to know professional athletes a little bit better and what goes on in their life besides the sport that they play and are paid to compete in. So with that said, let's get started on the Fishing Business Podcast, episode 2 with Dave Ittner from Yamaha Marine. Dave Ittner is our guest today on the Fishing Business Podcast. And Dave, you and I have known each other for about 11 years. But, I don't actually think I've ever asked you what your actual title is. And I know it's changed. So
yeah, it just changed. Right. It just changed in January. I accepted a new position at Yamaha. Previously, for the last 12 years, I've been their tournament sponsorship and pro staff manager. And an opportunity came in that I could not say no to. So now I am the senior specialist for fleet logistics, which covers a broad spectrum, but it's pretty much a lot of the activation that we do, whether it be in boat shows, in water demo tour, all different types of events and product previews and stuff. So I'm basically pulled in to where I have the best expertise.
Right.
And I'm excited to be a part of a new team.
Well, I know that you have a real close relationship with anglers. You've always had real good close relationships with anglers. Are you still using pro anglers in that role that you're in now? I would think you do, sort of.
Oh yes, oh yes. I've got both on this fresh and saltwater side. Matter of fact, I was just talking to Roxanne earlier today, and we were going through the master list that we have and highlighting the ones that, for each month, if you will, for what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've had a very close relationship for ooh, I'm going to date myself. 20 plus years, 28
Wow.
years now.
Yeah. Well, and that's another question I was going to ask you. Did you ever, as a professional, did you work anywhere besides Yamaha back in the day?
Oh, girl, yes, I did. Well, first of all, give you a little history on me, just real quick.
Yeah.
I grew up in Michigan, and I spent my summers at my grandfather's cabin on
Oh,
Lake
I love
Huron
that.
in Harrisville,
I love
and
that.
with my parents and my four brothers, and we hunted and fished every day during the summer. I've been married to my beautiful wife Belinda for 39 years, coming
Wow.
up on 40 this September. We
And you
have
got
two
married
boys.
when you were 12.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't think I look too bad for coming up on
Heck
66.
no. Heck no.
But we have two boys, Christopher, and he's married to Andrea, and we have one grandson, Aiden, who's 3. They work. He works for Publix Corporation and lives in Lakeland, Florida. So we get to see some sunshine.
Oh, that's great.
And our youngest, who is 31, lives in Bentonville, Arkansas, and he works for Walmart Corporation up there. So we're pretty astounded with what they've been doing. But back to your original question, prior to coming to Yamaha in 2008, obviously I've worked now in marketing and promotions for 38 years.
Wow.
It's taken us to Norway, Sweden, Denmark.
Oh
I've
my
worked for Dow
God.
Chemical, GE, and prior to Yamaha was Lowrance, or Navico as it's called now.
Oh, I didn't realize you worked for Lowrance.
Yeah, I was their marketing director for like 9 years.
All right. So the next thing on my list is, and I love this question, but tell me something that's not on your LinkedIn resume that people may not know about you.
Well, probably the fact that I've attended over 28 Bassmaster Classics now.
Wow. That's
So see,
incredible. So
I'm
what
a
was the
lot
first year?
older than you think.
What was the first year you went?
Oh gosh, that was back in 19. Oh my gosh, go back to 96, 97, way
Wow.
back.
Wow. Oh gosh, that's crazy. Was that, let's see, the first one I went to was in Greensboro, or it was North Carolina. I can't remember the name of the town, like Greensboro, High Point, something like that. Do you remember that? Denny won.
Denny, yes,
Yeah, that was
Denny won.
North Carolina. Okay, so all right, then the next question I have for you is, what does a typical day in your life look like? Because I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand is, we all say we work in the fishing industry and people imagine that we fish all day and just have fun and with our friends. But what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, my day starts usually around 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning, and I get up. And, I have a ritual that I do with my dogs and the walk that I do, and I'm usually to work around 7:30, sometimes a little after that. Um, you know, being in this industry, you get hit from all sides. And I would have to say that I do spend a lot of time on email,
Yeah.
answering a lot of questions, helping a lot of people out, plus the
Yeah.
daily routine that we do, at Yamaha.
Right, right. We do spend a lot. All of us I think, spend a little bit too much time on email sometimes. But but on the other hand, Dave, I sometimes think we don't spend as much time talking on the phone to each other, and that's so valuable to talk on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we because it's so quick and easy and we can multitask and answer emails so much more quickly,
Yeah.
we do find ourselves kind of isolating, I guess, from the human aspect.
There is no doubt about that, and that's a big piece of what I'm trying to teach people about is the importance of building relationships. And we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Okay, we're back on the Fishing Business Podcast, and today's guest is Dave Ittner, who works with the Yamaha Marine Group. And as I said earlier, we've known each other for, probably, I don't know, 20, 25 years, something like that. We've known each other for a long time. And he's an incredible guy that knows a lot about marketing, knows everything about the fishing industry. So I'll start with this, because this seems like, to me, is one of the things that a lot of anglers care about a lot, aspiring anglers care about a lot, and maybe they're not quite as confident about, which is their social media, what to share on social media. In your opinion, what does your dream angler do in his social media feed? What's it look like?
Well, and there's a lot of different aspects, but one of the main things that I look for when I go out and whether it be a Brandon Polinick or a Drew Cook, whether it be a high school or a college angler, I always look for that personal, that little bit of something that I can relate to, that draws me in to what they're doing, their lifestyle, whether it be fishing, family, what they do for extracurricular activities. I always want to feel like we've got a connection.
Right.
If we can make a connection with the public at large, because we all like to build our following, I think it makes us a better individual, and we can learn a lot from each other.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and it's funny, I just wrote a blog post yesterday about how important the know, like, and trust factor is when you're trying to grow a fan base or grow a consumer base. And in order for people to know, to trust you, they need to like you. And in order for them to like you, they need to know you. And don't you think, Dave, that there is more to getting people to know you than holding up a big fish? I mean, I've heard other marketers called it grip and grin. And I think sometimes we need to see more than the grip and grin. You agree?
I agree totally. When you look, and I'm using just some names of some individuals that I know. I'm going to use Mike Iaconelli for a second. Everybody knows Ike. He's been in the industry for years. He's made a good reputation and name for himself. But if you look at Instagram, you look at his Facebook, you look at his tweets and such, he brings the family, the human interest element into pretty much everything he does, which makes us be able to relate on a one-to-one, right, as opposed to trying to set myself where I'm at a different level. Brings you right into his world, into what he does, and that makes a big difference on the interest level of individuals.
That's right. And then we all start feeling like we know him. We know his wife, Becky. We know his son, Vegas. We know his daughter, Stella. We feel like he's part of our family, and somehow we feel like we're part of his.
That is so true. That is so true. And there's a lot of anglers that do post things that are irrelevant to the fishing industry. And some of these are very heartfelt. Yeah. Some individuals are looking for prayers. Some individuals are, they're making a trip and they want to bring you along with it. Right. It's like we're doing right now. You become part of their world. You can better understand them, and it gives you a vision for who they are and what they can become, which is really intriguing for us out here in the world that are looking for future pro staff, if you will.
Okay, what does your dream this is a good question. What does your dream angler do on stage? But it could be it could be the Bassmaster Classic, or it could be, your local Tuesday night tournament. But what do they do on stage that is important to you as a marketer?
I think a couple of the biggest things, Angie, is the integrity and honesty of the individual angler. How they present themselves and how passionate they are about the sport. Let's face it, none of us want to do, quote, a job. And when you get down to it, being an angler is a job. It is a career. It is a business. And what I like, my dream angler, whether it be male or female, gets up there and they present themselves well. They connect with the public and with their followers. They're polished to the point that they're happy with what they're doing. They love what they're doing, and that just emanates out of their personality. It's more than just having a fish on a hook and standing up there and going, "This is what I weighed in today." I want to be in your world. What did you do to get it? Where
Yeah.
did you go? How
Yeah.
hard was it?
Yeah.
What are the things that brought you from this morning at launch to being where you are right now on stage? And what are those emotions you have?
Right.
That
Right.
that the emotions. I
I
mean,
know
we're
it.
all there.
I tell people all the time, guys that I've coached in the past, I've always said, when you're driving in from being out on the water, you need to be thinking in your head about what you're going to say when you get on stage, because you've got an interesting story to tell, and it's more than just, oh, I didn't catch them today, or oh, oh, I caught them great in practice, but they weren't there today. You've got a story to tell, and use that time to get ready with what you're going to say.
There are two anglers in our industry that I have followed over the years, and I admire for the way they can take a bad day and they can turn it into a positive. And that is Mark Davis does this very, very well.
Yeah,
And Gerald
100%.
Gerald Swindle.
Oh my God.
I literally sit on the edge of my seat waiting for him to get on stage, whether he's had a good day or a bad. He spins it to the point that you just love the guy.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
he's got a personality. He pokes at himself, and when you
Yes,
can do that, I think you grab everybody's attention, and everybody just likes to follow you. You
there's no
know?
doubt. There's no doubt. And everybody can't be a Gerald Swindle. I mean, he's a rare breed. And if you know his daddy, he got it honest.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, right. And everybody can't be that, but everybody has a story to tell. And listen, you just gave two examples of people that are very different. Mark Davis has a very different brand than Gerald Swindle
Yeah,
does. But that's a great example of, you don't have to be a comedian. You can just be a good old country boy, and you can still grow a fan base and get people to love you, right?
absolutely, absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, so switching over a little bit now to Yamaha, what would you say? I'm trying to educate people on what branding is and what brands mean. What do you say? And I know you probably know this by heart, but what are Yamaha's brand values?
Boy, there's a couple that come to mind, Angie, that really I believe set us apart. And two major ones are the reliability of a product. You have to have a quality product that sustains the lifestyles, whether it be an angler out fishing a tournament, whether it be a family out on the lake for the day of enjoyment and pleasure. And I think the other thing is customer service.
Yeah.
No matter where we go, what we do, whether it's eating out, if it's at the grocery store, if it's at a sporting goods store, um, we love the customer service that is given to us. And I truly believe that the customer service we give back sets you apart from so many different groups and organizations and companies in the world. Um,
I have to tell you that what I really love about that, Dave, is that all those things that you just said right there, what's really important to the Yamaha brand, are about the customer. They were all about the customer. And that's another thing that I've tried to coach people on, is really, as a professional athlete, your job is to take care of your fans. That's
Absolutely.
really, you serve your fans. If you serve your fans, a lot of people think, well, these professional athletes, they serve their sponsors. Well, they do, but they serve their sponsors by serving their fans. And your brand values definitely serve your customers. Same thing. So along those lines, if anglers are new to branding and marketing, they're just getting out there and trying to dip their toe in this water, what can they learn from, just like what I just said there? I kind of answered my own question, but can you expand a little bit more on what they can learn by looking at a brand like Yamaha and how you express your brand values?
Well, I think there's a lot of learn, whether you look at any of the motor manufacturers, you look at the rod and reel companies. When you look at the branding and you see how they do it, you look at their commercials, you look at their ads, you look at everything that they put together on it. I think every individual has to be unique and find what that is that makes them stand out, if you will. One or two things, not a whole bunch. Um, I think of Brandon Polinick, and when he started way back in the Federation days, and I remember he was on the Bass stage once, and an individual that it really helped him tremendously. All he had to do was pull that yellow whistle out of his pocket.
Mm.
And there wasn't a dry eye in the house, because we all know the backstory.
That's right.
So I think you have to find that thing that you see other companies and other anglers doing
Right.
that sets them apart, but makes you special for what you stand for.
That's right. And I'm always encouraging people to watch what other people are doing. Don't try to do what they're doing, but try to synthesize that and process it to be what you can do individually, what you're strong at and what you're good at, right?
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be anything major. You could probably pick 5 anglers right now that are out there, and you could look at each one and say, this is what this one's known for. This is what this individual's brand, if you will, is known for. And that's what they need to do. I would highly suggest that anybody that is new, that is coming into the field, there's so many different things to talk about here. You never want to copy anybody, but you want to observe and educate yourself into branding for sponsors, branding for other colleagues and peer group in the industry. You want to look at other sports and how do the anglers or the other sports individuals become branded? What are they known for, and why is that important to them? It goes a long way, and it helps to identify you, which is what you want to do. You want to be kind of singled out, and people know you for a certain thing, if you will.
That's right. And it can be many different things. And like I keep saying, it doesn't have to be, don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself. And, I think, Dave, a lot of people will say, well, who am I? Who am I to try to let my voice be heard? There are other people who are much more qualified than me to say these things or tell you these things or teach you these things. But sometimes people need to hear it from you. Your voice makes you unique enough that your message needs to be heard.
Right, and you're reaching different levels. You're reaching different groups. You take the young Hunter Bland, who does because of the accident that he had a couple of years back. He is now on this kick and has been, and his primary known for his safety. When he gives seminars, and I've seen some of these that he's done, and it's heart-wrenching because to see what happened to him and see him take that, as we talked earlier about taking a negative and flipping it to a positive that people can relate to, can understand. You just won your followers over, and they have become an extension of your message, which 100%. is so unique. Yeah, 100%.
Now I hear that little dog barking now. What kind of dog is that?
Oh, I know. That was a gift from our son for Christmas.
It sounds like a little dog.
He's a little Shih Tzu something or other, and he's yeah. I should open the door and let him in, but
let him in and let us see him.
Oh, you would like to see him?
Yeah, for sure. Let him in.
Hold on, Oscar.
Oscar, I love it. Okay, y'all, we're getting to see Dave Ittner's new dog. I can't wait to see him.
Okay, this is bringing the human aspect into the conversation.
What a cutie, Oscar.
Hi.
Dogs don't seem to know that. They don't seem to hear through electronics. Hey, Oscar. Yeah, no, he doesn't see me. Oh, he's darling.
He's down there he just wants to get where he shouldn't be.
That's right.
Angie, we cover so many bases for anglers, and as you know, I attend several conferences every year, and I'm on a selected panel to where we open it up and let the audience ask questions. And what's amazing is it never gets old to listen to the younger generation that aspire to be in the professional world, become a professional angler. And they always ask, and it's kind of flipped from where it used to be, the handout. They used to always say the anglers, this is their handshake. The younger generation coming in now, that's coming from high school, college, federation, whatever, I think they're beginning to realize that in order to promote themselves, they got to be able to promote their sponsors.
Right.
So what I'm seeing now is a lot of anglers, when they call me, and I get lots of calls and emails like I'm sure a lot of the other corporations do. I've noticed that the attitude has changed to the point of, what I want to do is ask you about your pro staff, but what I want to know is, I want to explain to you what I can do for your company. Here are the things that I am capable of doing for your company, for sales, for marketing, etc. I'm seeing a big switch, and it's probably the learn, like we're doing here on podcast, and things that they're able to hear from other anglers, is that I need to portray myself, not only sell myself, but I need to be able to show you what I bring to the table, what value I can bring to you, your company, and your team, which is a real refreshing thing to see out there in the marketplace these days.
Well, I'm so glad, Dave, that you're seeing that, because I am hearing from other friends in the marketing industry who say they're not. They're inundated with people who don't understand that they need to provide a value for sponsorship. So it's good to know that they are out there and they are understanding that they need to have that, to provide a value, because that's really what it's all about in the end. Just like you said with Yamaha Marine, you're providing a value to your customers, and anglers are providing a value to their sponsors and their fans.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And when they come to the table with something of that nature, where they're telling me, I get on the phone and they say, I'm, John Doe, I'd like to be a part of your pro staff, and here's the reasons why. And the minute you can tell they've done their homework. They talk about our reliability. Mm-hmm. They go ahead and talk about our customer service. They talk about what they've seen and heard in the marketplace. And because of that, they want to be associated with and become an extension of your sales team, of your marketing team. I mean, and I know there's not, out of 100, there's probably 25 or 30 that approach it that way. But it's like I say, it's refreshing to know that we, in all the years that we've been out there, we're making an impact on them. They're listening. They're learning from us.
I love it. That's so great. And so then that's kind of, what you see guys doing right. Tell me what you see guys doing wrong.
Oh, I see the guys that, and I've had these calls, and I'm sure you've been around where you've had these calls too, where you get the individual that calls up, I want to be on your pro staff, but here's what I need. I need this right, in order to do it. And I'm always backing up and say, okay, let's start from the beginning. I want to learn why you became involved with fishing, who taught you, what brings you to this point? What have you, was it your grandfather, your father, your brother, your mother? What was it, an aunt and an uncle? What got you into fishing? And why is it so important to you to get to this level?
Right.
And as anything, you've got to earn it. I mean, I've earned what I've got. You've earned what you got. Nothing is just handed over, because the minute it is, the value of not only what you're giving, but the value of the individual begins to get lost.
Agreed.
And my dad has always taught us that if you work and pay for the things you want, you'll take better care of them than if they're just given to you. And I think that's how it needs to be approached. If you earn it, you will have more respect, more honor, and you will present it that way. And it'll be excellent for both you, your sponsors, and your colleagues.
I love that. You're so smart, and you articulate all this so well. It's really a pleasure to get to hear you talk about it, because like I said, we've known each other for a long time, and I didn't realize how much we were on the same page. Maybe we all are, and we just don't know it. But I feel the exact same way. Okay, so here's another thing that's a good question for you, especially, is if somebody is new, they're out of college, and they want to get into this, and they want to maybe have goals to be a big time pro at the highest level, or maybe they're just a regional guy that wants to supplement his expense outlay to be a fisherman with
True.
some help and sponsorship, but they don't know anything about the business of fishing and how it works. How do they get that knowledge if they don't know me, and they don't know you, and they don't know anybody that works in the business of fishing? How do they figure that out, Dave?
Wow. Loaded question, Angie.
I know.
Because there's several routes you can take. I think it's First of all, I think you got to start from the beginning. You got to educate yourself to know what questions to ask. So the best way to do that is to look the history of fishing. Let's say I've got a new angler who's never been exposed to it, but just thinks, you know what? I've tried this avenue, and this avenue, and I think what I want to do, because I've only seen one, but I've seen one tournament, and I've watched a weigh-in, and it got me so excited and so thrilled. I want to be a part of that. I think they need to take a step back and educate themselves in what it's all about. One thing that's detrimental to every one of these anglers coming into it, and I've always taught this, is when you become a pro, you have to understand it's a business.
Absolutely.
It's not just a lifestyle. It's not like when my granddad used to take us out on the boat, we'd drop a line in, catch a few perch, and we'd come back and cook them. If you're going to go into this professionally, number one, you still have to have your degree. You have to be educated. And I'll have to honest, probably 90% of my entire pro staff has got a 4-year degree in something, whether it's biology, fisheries, or whatever. You got to have a backup plan. But if you're going to get into this, you have to sit down and outlay it like a business.
Right.
Because you've got your profits and your losses. You've obviously got expenses that, as we well know, those can run pretty high. You got to have a bank sitting over here. So as we're going through right now, tournaments begin. So you're not fishing. The chance of getting a check is not there. You can't go into this as a dream, which is what really shocks a lot of the individuals coming into this for the first time. My goal is to fish, to win a tournament, become rich.
Right.
Well, you're going to fish, and you're going to fish a lot of tournaments. But you got to understand, there's 140 guys fishing that same tournament. The chances of you and the percentage and the odds are you're not going to win that big check the first time and walk away and live the easy life. I look at anglers that you and I have been around for 20, 25 years that have seen the highs and seen the lows. So they have to educate themselves, set it up as a business, build yourself a foundation before you step off that ledge, and we've seen it happen many times. I tell this story that happened to me real quick, Angie, about 15 years ago, and it was heart-wrenching. I mean, I still get emotional. I had an angler that I'd known for years who called me up and said, Dave, when do I need to stop? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, when do I need to stop? When do I throw in the towel? And I said, I'm not following you. And he said, I'm having issues at home. I'm having issues with my kids. He said, I'm maxed out on 3 credit cards. He said, I'm about to lose my house. And he was going through this whole thing. And I'm just in like shock, because I had no idea on the surface this was the situation for this individual. And he had been out there for years. And I said to him, the first time you pulled that credit card out to put anything on that credit card that you could not pay off in 30 days is the day you should have stopped. I said, you're about to lose your wife, your family, your kids, your house. I said, everything you've worked for that you cherish is about to go away because of your self-centeredness and wanting to be like this guy over here making the money that he's making. And I said, you need to go back, get a real job, take care of your wife, your family, your house, save it all. And I said, bank away. It's a business. Bank away till the day comes when you look at your wife and your family and say, you know what? I've got enough to go out for a year and do this. If I'm successful, excellent. If I'm not, I can fall back on it. It was about a 4-hour conversation with him. He did hang up the phone, and within the next 16 months, he came back to me, saved his family, still married to his wife. Kids are the most awesome kids in the world. He is now going out venturing into the fishing industry to become an angler, but he's got his foundation built. And he said, those were the best words in the world when you said the minute you had to pull that credit card out for the first time, you should have went and got a real job and taken care of your family. And I think we lose sight of that. Our dreams and aspirations are over here. Reality is over here.
Right.
And sometimes we get them mixed up, and we send ourselves down that wrong path that can not help us, but deter us from becoming successful.
Well, and that's
Um,
another thing I say to guys that I'm coaching. I'm like, you are an entrepreneur. As soon as you, even if it's your full-time job or your side hustle, you're an entrepreneur. When you want to be a professional athlete or professional angler, you have become an entrepreneur, and you can't just wing that. You've got
no,
to have some plans and a business plan, and some goals. You got to have goals. You got to have milestones. You got to pace yourself and forecast all the business things that every business has.
absolutely. You got your objectives, you got your strategy. You have to do the financials. It's like any business of any type. You've got to structure it in that fashion and always know where you are, so that you don't end up falling in that trap, and then your future is totally changed.
Right. Totally. I get it. All right. I'm going to take another quick. This is another good place to take a break. My phone's ringing off the hook. Sorry. Oh, God, I can't stop it. Sorry about that. I'm going to get better at this. This is my second podcast, so I'm going to get better at this.
I think you're doing great. I think you're doing great.
But we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more. We're going to wrap things up with Dave Ittner and get some more great words of wisdom from him. Stand by. Okay, we're back on the Fishing Business Podcast, wrapping things up with Dave Ittner. Dave, as I've said before, is marketing really genius, has been around the fishing industry forever and knows everybody and just about everything, I think. And so before we wrap things up, Dave, I did want to ask my three or four little questions here, kind of rapid fire. Who's a business person you admire and why?
Oh gosh, Angie. There's so many individuals I look up to in my career, from the days when I worked at the Weber's IGA in Bridgeport, Michigan,
Oh, I love that.
who taught me honesty and integrity, and those basics that you need to go out into the business world, as to my colleagues in the industry right now. I mean, I admire, like yourself, and so many individuals that are so involved in what we do and have a passion for it. I could start naming off 5 or 6 individuals that have taught me so much and that I look up to, and I've probably missed 2 or 3.
Right. It's kind
But those people that are passionate like us about our business, I admire them all.
Right. Okay, then I'm going to throw a name out there, and I want you to tell me what you've learned from them, because it's somebody I admire a lot. It almost makes me emotional. Sorry. Dale Barnes.
Oh, Angie, I've known, and I was going to bring his name up. You're gonna get me emotional now, and it's just because I've known Dale over 20 plus years, way back when in my Lawrence days. We've had a dialogue as friends, as business partners, as boss employee, if you will. He's one awesome individual. His honesty and integrity, that he talks the talk, walks the walk, and the support that he gives to the industry, to our company, to his employees is unheard of. I mean, and now he's on the board of the ASA and everything else. He continually gives of himself.
Right.
Which for me, just I would strive to be half of what he is.
Right.
And what he's done
and
for
I'm
this
so
industry.
glad to hear you say that, because Dale is somebody that I've kind of always put up on a pedestal. Obviously I've never worked for him, but I just admire him so much for all those qualities that you just talked about, and I'm so glad to hear that somebody that works for Dale feels the same way. And Dale is he what is his role? What is his title at Yamaha?
He's our marketing division manager.
Right.
I mean, over all of the Marine Group marketing, all the different facets, from government relations to communications to video to everything.
Yeah.
One of the fairest guys that I have ever met on all levels.
Well, that's what I've always admired about him. He is obviously brilliant, obviously, an incredible leader, but he's also humble, and he's also
Yes.
very, very caring. He's a very caring person, and I admire that a lot. Okay. I'm going to skip that next question I have for you because it's hard to answer. But is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, Dave? If you were listening
Well,
to this,
you didn't ask me what I like to do in my spare time.
oh, let's get to that then, because I bet I know one of them is you like to get in the boat and take a sunset cruise with your wife, and I'm sure now with Oscar, right?
I forgot I told you about that. Our Friday night cruise.
Yeah, your Friday night cruise on Lake Lanier, right?
Absolutely. And the weather's getting perfect and warm up, and now we can get the boat out. We can go out and do our Friday night cruise.
That's right. Well, what
That's
else?
how we connect. I think there's one thing that I truly enjoy doing that a lot of people know that I don't, is that I'm a keyboard artist.
Oh, I did not know
I play
that.
piano and I play pipe organ.
Oh my
And
God. Dave,
if I had my way, I would play every night for 2 solid hours.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, can I get you to do something for me? Will you record yourself playing and send it to me, and I'll put it on the tail end of this podcast, and that can take us out as you playing us out.
I can do that. I can get it to you in the next day.
I love that. See, and that builds the know, like, trust factor. We've gotten to know Dave a little bit better. We'll like him more. And of course, I already trusted you, but everybody else will understand that concept too now.
Thank you, Angie. Awesome
so much.
podcast. I'm so proud of what you're doing and how you're helping our industry. And I'm so happy that I could be a part of it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time today, Dave. And I hope this social distancing ends quickly with a happy ending, and that we're all back out on the lake fishing soon.
Amen. Amen.
All right, Dave Ittner, once again from Yamaha Marine. Great guys, you can see there. He's just a wealth of knowledge. These guys that have been around for a long time are the kind of guys you want to listen to. All right, listen to them when they talk, y'all. And I know you did just then. Hey, like I've said before, I'm here for you. I want to do things that you think are valuable. So let me hear from you, man. Comment here. Give me a review. You can find me on Facebook at Fishing Business Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Fishing Business Podcast. And let me know if there's something you want me to cover, if there's a guest you think that should be on, or if you have some questions for someone. I'll be happy to follow up, and I'd be happy to talk to you anytime. So before we go here, I want to share something that Dave said a long time ago. In like 2010 or 11, I wrote this down a long time ago. I've had it ever since, but he said in an interview, he said, remember, sponsors want people who can cast a positive light on their products. Let your personality and your passion for the sport shine through, but be careful and avoid complaining, bad-mouthing, and excuse-making. Build a positive, uplifting, likable image for yourself, and you'll not only attract the right sponsors, but you'll also attract the right loyal fan base. And you know what, y'all? That's advice that we can use for anything, not only for becoming a professional angler or becoming a professional outdoors industry person, but really in life. Let your personality and your passion come through, and avoid complaining and bad-mouthing and excuse-making. Great quote there from Dave Ittner. And I like to say, someone that was very important in my life was Jerry McInnes, and he always ended his show with a really important quote, and I'm going to do the same. As Dave Ittner takes us out and rolls us out playing the keyboard just like he promised, I want to say that I want to thank my dad, because he always had time